Alright, Shalom, call out Yahweh Shem Shah. Shalom to the elect. This video, just trying to get straight to the point. And basically, I was scrolling. You know, sometimes you doze off and you go to sleep, and the videos would be on the side, and you had an autoplay on it, it pop up. This one of the videos that popped up. And I'm like, get up, what the fuck he's all talking about? So, they say, why is America not mentioned in Bible prophecy? America is mentioned all throughout Bible prophecy, just using a different name because it wasn't called America back then. I'm gonna let this video play. I'm gonna post some presets too. And also, before I let this play, the other videos I got queued up, I mentioned in the previous video, talking about this nuclear talk, which is why this is mentioned in a mysterious way in the scriptures as well. It's just like a puzzle you gotta solve. Like, damn, what place on this earth gonna do all this stuff, make all these nations get drunk off of a cup and fornicate with this one nation? What nation is that? Not Mystery Babylon.
Or why is America not mentioned in Bible prophecy as a key player in the end, or are they a player at all for that matter?
No, they're not. We're not. Okay, several possibilities. Why? Because here's what we assume. In Ezekiel 38 and 39, when this coalition of 8 nations comes down to invade Israel, there's no nation that they're afraid of. Nobody can or will intervene on the side of Israel. So we assume there's no superpower in the world, meaning unfortunately, the demise, as John Wade would say.
Which is false. Now, let's go to the scripture real quick. Because right now, America is looked at as the superpower of the earth. Now, when they talk about Russia being a guard into the nations, when they talk about the Gog and Magog prophecy, they gonna link up to go against that other superpower on earth. But what's gonna draw that superpower out? Let me get that. Alright, judgment on Edom. And see, this what they don't teach in no theological cemetery schools, because they don't really go on into prophecy. They want to teach you that Mary had an immaculate conception and all this other nonsense. It ain't even really biblical or accurate. And that's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49, and verse, let's see, let me go up. Verse 20. But yeah, let me see, I want to go back up some more. There's some more on this. Okay, here we go. I'm going to start at verse 17. It says, also, Edom shall be a desolation. Everyone that goeth by shall be astonished and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof. Now, this is synonymous with this. Let's get to it for 1 hour. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 18, and verse 17. Let's scroll down. Let's see. I'm going to start at verse 9. It says, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her. Why do they live deliciously with her? When they talk about fornication, they're not talking about having sex. It's talking about doing business, foul business deals, trading stocks, doing under the table stock market deals, and trading organs and different goods and cattle, and different metals and woods, whatever. The list goes on. Spices and herbs, people. The list goes on. So they have committed fornication and live deliciously with her. Shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off, for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. Now, why would they say, why is America not mentioned in Bible prophecy? Maybe because they really don't know. They really haven't studied this book. Or the Most High, I don't really open their eyes to it. Now, going back to what I was reading in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49, back in verse 17, it says, also Edom shall be a desolation. Everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof, as in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the neighbor cities thereof, saith the Lord. No man shall abide there, neither shall a son of man dwell in it. Why is that? Because for 1 hour is our judgment come. And I'm going to get to how that judgment will come in a minute. It says, behold, he should come out like a lion from the swelling of Jordan against the habitation of the strong, but I will suddenly make him run away from her. Who is the chosen man that I may appoint over her? Or who is like me? Or who will appoint me at a time? And who is that shepherd that will stand before me? Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. Now, let's back up to what he just said. Go back a little bit.
Afraid of. Nobody can or will. That's why. Because, and here's what we assume. In Ezekiel 38.
See, that's why it's not good to assume. It's better to know. Now, you meet somebody, you don't want to assume that they do this and do that. Because then you're going to be casting out false judgment on them. You should know. Definitely dealing with these scriptures, you don't want to assume, dang, maybe Esau was a black man. You don't want to assume that. You want to go into the history, the characteristics, who is who. You want to see who Edom is. You want to see who Israel is. You want to see who Judah is, Benjamin, Levi, all these different people. You don't want to assume. You want to know. I'm really placing it.
39. When this coalition of 8 nations comes down to invade Israel, there's no nation that they're afraid of. Nobody can or will intervene on them.
And that's false. Because that's why the scripture right here says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. What's the least of the flock? The places just mentioned. Because that's the smallest area on the earth. But who they got backing them? Oh, and recently, look what you got going on in the news. I just seen this when I was on the plantation. Let's scroll down a little bit. Let me scroll down a little bit. Look what you got going on. This gonna keep escalating, man. And it hasn't really stopped. They had like a ceasefire for maybe 72 hours or a little bit more. And then you see this right. This is who gonna pull Babylon, aka America, over into this region of it. It says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. Because best believe, before we go back into our land, they got to get cleaned up first. So what's the 2 top cleaning agents? Water and that fire. Now, let me scroll down some more. And make their habitations desolate with them, so the earth is moved at the noise of their fall. Now, why would the earth be moved? Like the other scripture mentions as well, the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard. There's only one thing that's going to make the earth move like that, and that's when they drop all these arrows simultaneously. It's a cry of noise thereof that was heard in the where? In the Red Sea. Now, what's going on over there in the Red Sea right now? Let me go back. Go back. I just seen it. That's it. Make sure to be sure to let's be sure than unsure. Okay, come on.
That was loud. Well, the military exercises in Kyrgyzstan have officially kicked off an impressive show of force put on display by famous rocket artillery launchers, the famous Graz. And elsewhere in this training facility, troops have also engaged in active shooting, and these maneuvers are well underway. Now, these were situations.
They gonna show it right now. On this part of the matter. This ain't the exact video. But it was one of the lists talking about warships and stuff being deployed over to this region. Talk it out real quick. Okay, here it go right here. This the one. So Israeli occupation sends submarine 2 warships where? To the Red Sea. Now you go to this preset. No. We go back to verse 21. It says the earth is moved at the noise of their fall, at the cry. At the cry, the noise thereof was heard in the where? In the Red Sea. It says, behold, he should come up and fly as the eagle and spread his wings over Basra. And in that day shall the heart of mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman and her pains. That's how Esau be any fucking way. You get around the Edomite, they try to play all that tough role and all that shit. When you really carry yourself in a certain manner, they be want to cry and weep and do all that little weak ass shit and play victim. Go back to this video. Let's play some more.
On the side of Israel, so we assume there's no superpower in the world, meaning unfortunately, the demise, as John Wade would say, of the United States of America, unfortunately. Right. So we're not there, meaning we're not either we don't exist or we don't have the political will, the military, the economic. In other words, we're not a superpower anymore, and that's the sad reality of it. So we've been predicting along that line. We're going to continue to see the United States go down the drain, unfortunately, simply because the Bible assumes that we're not a player in the last days.
Why is it that you think why are we at diminished power when we're so powerful today?
Yeah, well,
we can only guess.
Yeah, we can only guess. A lot of reasons why. I think part of it is having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof, because we're seen in the world, Craig, as a Christian nation. We are. The rest of the world sees us as Christian, but then they...
And that's false, man. The rest of the world don't see that shit. You tell that to somebody that ain't never been cross seas.
And look and come to America, and they see things anything but Christian, right? And that's what's part of the sadness of all this. That we were, as Ronald Reagan used to say, the light shining on the hill, and that was the idea behind America. The huddled masses gathering together. 20 of the first 21 institutions that were founded in this country, schools, Harvard, Yale, William and Mary, were founded to train pastors to go out and evangelize the rest of the country. We've fallen tremendously away from that.
Yeah, one of the ratifiers of that.
Yeah, because those wasn't the prophets. Those wasn't the actual teachers. Those wasn't the people that the Most High ordained. So you can go to school, you have people that be like, oh, I'm an ordained minister and all. This information that I know, I wasn't ordained from none of this through no Yale or no Harvard or none of that stuff. The Most High ordained me. He put the Spirit on certain things. Let me pull this precept since I'm in the book of Jeremiah. Since I'm in this book. Should I put it in like? It's the book of Jeremiah. Chapter 1. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Chapter 1, it said the words of Jeremiah, the son of Hilkiah. It says, of the priests that were in Anak in the land of Benjamin, to whom the word of the Lord came in the days of Josiah the son of Ammon, king of Judah, in the 13th year of his reign. It came also in the days of Jehoiakim, the sons of Josiah, king of Judah, until the end of the 11th year of Zedekiah, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, until carrying away Jerusalem captive in the 5th month. Now, this is the main point. It says, then the word of the Lord came to me, saying, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. So you can't go to no damn school or no Yale or no Harvard and be talking about, oh yeah, I was ordained. And Esau ain't ordained the shit. Now let me read on some more. It says, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. So that's why when he says, let's back this up a little. Listen to what he said. You can't make this up, man.
Together, 20 of the first 21 institutions that were founded in this country's schools, Harvard, Yale, William and Mary, were founded to train pastors to go out and evangelize the rest of the country. We've fallen tremendously away.
And why did they fall? Because the Most High ain't ordained the ass. Now you got elders, teachers, apostles, prophets, all these people that make up the actual body for real. That's been edifying and teaching people and helping people wake up to the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Shah. Esau can't control that. Ain't no school, even though the elders had the one West school set up. That was all split up just so the right man can actually lead and teach how it's supposed to be. And like the scriptures also say, this be a man that should not stand. Let me get that in a minute. I'm going to just read on some more on this, then I get that. It says, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. Before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Then said I, Lord,